All right, we are going to get into our next chapter here. What? What'd you do? Uh-oh. Can you always get to your notes? That's what I do.
Are you not learning?
Yes. They keep breathing.
Yeah.
Playing golf. Bang!
Smush.
Wrist bait.
Oh, good. All right. Cody, get your notes open, please.
Somebody shared it.
Not me.
84%. Have you taken attendance yet?
Not me.
That's my grade.
Okay, our next chapter here is called Soil Characteristics, Classification, and Use. So the big part we're going to be focusing on today is a characteristic of soil. There's physical,
Emotional.
there's physical characteristics and chemical characteristics. So I'm not going to go through all these because I'm going to focus on a couple of them today for sure that we're going to get to.
Sure.
So we're going to start out, you're going to be able to list some of the basic physical characteristics or properties of soil, also discuss some of the different definitions of soil, which that one will be throughout. Also, you'll list some soil components, classify soils based on texture, which is what we're going to focus on today, soil texture. And then also tomorrow you will use the soil triangle to name the soil, and then we're going to look at particle sizes. So the big thing we're going to look at today is soil texture. So I'll keep her here then. So right now,
Lower down.
soil.
Lower down. I got
Well, that just shows how fast.
Soil definitions here on canvas. Scroll down. Right. Oh, you're not in my collector shirt.
That's awesome, don't it?
You're in first.
I don't want to now.
All right.
Remember,
Hey, eyes up here, please. We have some traditional definition of soil, which we looked at really last chapter. Ladies, you with us?
yeah.
Okay. I mean, here. So, traditional definitions of soil is really the top layer of the Earth's crust, or material that nourishes and supports growing plants. Soil includes everything: rocks, water, snow, everything that goes into the soil, the organisms. Geologically, loose surface of Earth as distinguished from solid bedrock. And then also components, another definition would be mixture of mineral matter, organic matter, wind, or water and air. Not wind, but water and air. So 3 definitions that I guess a soil scientist could look at.
Yeah, same here.
Is it?
Yep. I've been logging the campus for 5 minutes now.
Don't.
Yeah.
I'm just sure.
Seasons, oh, try this.
Break it. Oh my god.
Down.
Okay.
Jimmy Chungus. Don't chunky yet.
I'll do it for you.
Yay?
First one's for
Whatever.
You were at
Yes.
last year.
It doesn't really.
No, it's over your fault.
That sucks.
Did it go at least for you?
Second one's expensive.
I knew that was gonna work.
All right, you get it?
No,
Cody.
no, I didn't get it.
Well, I guess keep trying because I got to get through texture. Okay.
I'll do them later.
Did you get them, Elise? All right. So again, we talked about this. We talked about soil being everything: organic matter, mineral matter, the organisms, everything that goes into a soil, environment. You can see all the things that go into a soil environment right there. Okay, physical properties. One of our objectives is you'll be able to state physical properties of soil. One of the physical properties that we are going to be talking about today is soil texture. Soil texture. So that's a great, yes. Soil texture is what is actually in the soil, how it feels. We'll look at that in a second. But physical components of soil are composition, texture, structure, bulk density, depth, color, and then water holding capacity. Which we will get to that later on. But I can't remember. Did I have to write any of these down? Okay. Okay, next here. So the first physical property of soil is the composition of what it actually is.
Okay.
Right here. So, solid particles. Solid particles in the soil. We have mineral particles such as these. Those are all mineral particles, or organic material, organic matter. So 50% of our soil is solid particles. And then you can break that 50 up into 45 mineral, 5% organic matter. Also within the soil, we have water and air, which it's weird to think about, but under your feet right now, you are standing on air.
No.
Yes, because
We're standing on the floor.
air is in the soil. So there's another 50% that contains a liquid and gas.
So I'm hovering.
So 25% of that is water. 25 is air. So if you looked at the breakdown of this. Oh darn.
Oh my God.
I'll get back. I'll get back to it. Don't calm. Just calm down. So this is what it looks like. We have 50% is the solid portion, mineral matter and organic matter, and then another 50% would be the air and liquid portion, and that is the composition of soil. Did you get this?
Maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Can you just stop?
Probably not as much. Did you get this, Tristan? Keaton, you got it? Keaton, you with me? Okay, next here. So most of the organic material is and does come from decomposing plants and animals. A small portion of it comes from the actual microbes that are decaying or dying. But a large part of that organic matter does come from the plants and animals on the earth. Then as they die, they decompose and then become part of that nutritious topsoil or A horizon. And then also, the microbes play a very important role as the recyclers. And some of them can also take nitrogen from the air, fix it into a usable nitrogen for plants. We'll talk about that nitrogen release a little bit later in the chapter when we talk about some chemical composition of the soil. And our next one here. Okay. Our next part here, our physical property of soil is soil texture. Okay? So, I will pass this around and not open the bags, but you can kind of feel. We'll get plenty of that in just a second. But soil texture refers to the amount of sand, silt, and clay in a soil. You need to turn to your neighbor and tell them what soil texture is. Go. Medium, of course.
All right.
So, Peter, right here, the amount of
First the amount of sand, silt, and clay.
in a
It's how
soil.
Soil.
Okay.
Get that?
Essentially, the amount of sand, silt. Okay, Cody, you're in here in school anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. Don't throw things, please. And Jacob, stop. Just face forward. So, sand, silt, and clay. This first one I'll pass around is sand. It is the largest of all particle sizes. Okay, it is the coarse material. So that one is sand. This one is a medium soil. A lot of times, silt would be our medium type of soil. Okay, so we'll get that one going around, and then the smallest particle size. The smallest
It's coarse.
material, no, the smallest is fine, and that would be clay. So if this broke up, if this clay broke up, it would be a very
attention to the.
fine textured soil. I'll go back to this slide, but I just wanted to show you this here.
It's a bag inside of a bag.
It is. Okay, eyes up here. This is what you're feeling when you actually feel our sand, silt, and clay. Sand is very large in particle size compared to silt, which is right here, and then look at clay. It says clay is invisible in this scale.
What is this?
So that tells you how small of a particle clay is. Is that what it's saying? No.
Yeah, dog. I brought the same.
Some of this would almost be gravel up top of here.
I like cocoa powder.
Gravel is huge compared to sand, silt, and clay. I'll pass this one around as well, because this kind of also depicts a little bit of, you can look at this one a little bit better. That is sand. Don't open this either. Silt,
No problem.
Use this from the dam.
and then clay.
Sandy.
When you're done, just set them on the back counter and I can pick them up later.
Is that clay or soil?
So on Jacob's head.
That's clay.
Where's the silt?
The silt is right there. I actually have it. So, soil texture again refers to the amount of sand, silt, and clay.
Don't give me that.
No, I wasn't giving it to you.
Hey,
Can we
Hey.
mix them?
what?
Can we mix all this?
No.
Happens?
We're gonna do something with this tomorrow. We're gonna be able to do what? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, make dirt.
Give me the other one.
Okay, right up here. Hey,
Hi.
again, I want you to ingrain this, no pun intended, in your brain. Texture refers to the amount of sand, silt, and clay in a soil. Okay? I will quiz you on that tomorrow, so be ready. Next slide here. Another thing, soil or soil texture determines is the amount of pore space in between soil particles. So tell me, raise your hand and tell me, what soil do you think is going to have more pore space? A sandy soil or a clay soil? Tell me.
Clay soil.
Why do you think it's clay soil?
Because it's very fine.
Okay? That is, you got to think opposite, okay?
Is that wrong?
It's real dirt.
It is sandy soils, okay, like these ladies here said, because the sand, think of them as larger particles. As the sand would be together, they are going to leave a lot more pore space. Think about this, Keaton. If you took water and you poured it into that jar of sand, is the water going to go through the sand faster or the clay?
Sand.
What?
Sand.
Tell me, is the water going to filter through the sand faster or the clay?
Pretty sure the sand.
Sand. Okay. So that is another thing that the sand does. that soil texture does. It determines the amount of pore space actually in the soil. And then again, this will determine how fast water actually moves through the soil.
Here, sure, you guys actually
Okay, so this is kind of a chart that just kind of shows you in terms of diameter sizes here. Okay? Sand, 2 to 1 millimeters, pretty small in its size, but then clay is less than 10 hundredths, thousandths, less than a thousandth of a millimeter. So very, very small compared to clay. And that, or from sand, I mean. And that's what this picture shows us here. Okay. Tomorrow, here's your assignment for tomorrow. You need to, and actually, hold up, I will.
Can you do me a huge favor and go to like really fast?
Okay, we won't get the structure today yet.
Hey!